When I was a kid, I loved to make tuna patties, and you know what? They taste even better in a delicious soft white sandwich. And I'm going to give these tuna patties a little bit of a twist by adding some sweet potato. So let's start with the sweet potato. I need 300 grams of cooked sweet potato. What I've done with this is just placed it into a tray and then baked it in the oven 180 degrees for about 25 minutes to 30 minutes, or until it's really, really soft. And by roasting it, it's not going to be too moist. It's actually going to have a lovely, nice, concentrated flavour. And look at the colour of that. This is such a great way to bake your vegetables. So, like I said, we only need half of this sweet potato, and I'll just scoop out this really soft flesh. Now, we don't want any skin in there. And then with a fork, give that a really good mash, just so it's nice and smooth for our patties. So once this is all mashed, we can now add some flavourings to this. About half a bunch of spring onions. I'll line them up and I want to finely chop them just into little rounds. I want the white part and the light green part. That's plenty. I'm not using good old classic onion for this because I think it's quite dominant and quite strong. I want to taste the sweet potato. I want to taste the tuna in this. Then I'm going to just cut this a little bit more, just running a knife through it 3 or 4 times. Great. In with our sweet potato. And now for the hero of this dish, you need 425 grams of tuna. So we're just going to drain that off. And at the moment, it's really chunky, which is fantastic for salads. But for these patties, I want it to be fine. So we'll just drain it, pop it into our sweet potato mixture. And then with our fork, we'll mash it together. So evenly distribute that so it goes really flaky. All right, now that that's nicely combined, we can start adding flavour to this. So Worcestershire sauce will give it a lovely savoury flavour. I'm going to use about half of this because I'm going to use the rest in the sauce that I'll make. Also some Dijon mustard, and we want half of this Dijon mustard along with the zest of 1 lemon. Now for some binding ingredients, a little bit of egg. I have 3 eggs here. I'm going to use it in 2 different ways. We're going to use this to bind, but also use this to crumb it. So just give it a really good whisk. And there's 3 eggs in here, so I only need 1 egg, so a third of this mixture. Perfect. And then a good handful of breadcrumbs. A small pinch of salt. You don't need too much salt for this because the tuna already has some salt in it. And then a crack of pepper. All right, using our fork again, we'll mash everything together and combine it. Okay, that's looking good. Now, using your hands, just feel the mixture to see if it's sticking and binding together. That's looking great. If it's not, you can add a little bit more egg and also a little bit more breadcrumb. So before we get on to making these into the patties, I want to make a really quick sauce to go with this. This is a fabulous Murray Rose sauce, which is a combination of mayonnaise, good old ketchup, and the kids will love this recipe. So in with some ketchup, some Dijon mustard, and we'll mix that together, along with the remainder of that Worcestershire sauce. And then if you like a little bit of a zing to this or a little bit of spice, then some Tabasco sauce. You can leave it out if you don't want it though. I like a lot of it. Now some lemon juice, just a small squeeze of lemon. And then for some extra creaminess, some sour cream, 2 teaspoons. 1, 2. Okay, now with the back of the spoon, just break up that sour cream and then mix that together. All right, let's put this to the side now and we can start making these patties. You need to form a production line of crumbs, which will be the last thing that we add, some flour, and the eggs that we whisked before, we'll bring them back. So now for the patties, we need 4 even patties. So I'm going to break up this mixture. We'll grab the first one. And I want these patties to not be round but square because I'm going to put this in good old classic white square bread, which is about the same size as my palm. I'm going to measure it out and then just even putting it onto the board, flattening it and making it square. And you can do this throughout the crumbing process. So into a rough square to start with. Now we start with a little bit of flour. So I'm just going to swap these over quickly. And we want to lightly place it in the flour and shake off the excess, putting it on all of the sides. And then keep shaking and keep forming that square as we put it in to the next mixture, which is our egg. And then flip it over, so all sides are coated, and then into our panko crumbs. Now, panko crumbs are a really dried form of crumb, so it's going to be a really, really crispy patty. You can also use fine crumbs if you like. So I'm just going to carefully take that out. So that's our first patty done. I'm going to continue this. So I've got 4 patties, then we can start frying them. Now these tuna patties are ready to go. I'm going to start frying them. If you like, you could put them in the fridge and you can cook them at a later stage. They'll firm up nicely actually. And now I'm frying this in olive oil, so shallow frying, about 1 centimetre's worth of oil. And then we'll put that on a medium heat, and then 2 at a time, we'll just very carefully lift the patties and then pop them in the oil. Now these are going to cook for about 1 minute on each side. Wait until they're super golden brown, turn it over and keep cooking them. Then I'll drain them on some paper toweling. All right, these patties are looking exceptional, and you can see what I'm doing just to finish them off. I'm just carefully turning it in the oil so all corners and all sides are crispy. So we'll take that off, turn the heat off, and then drain it on our paper toweling. And now for the really fun part, which is assembling this delicious sandwich. So, a little bit of iceberg lettuce. Poor iceberg lettuce doesn't get as much attention as it should. I love it because it's so crunchy. And what I want to do is cut this as fine as possible, just shredding it so we get a really good crunch when it's in our sandwich. So because this is very much a textural sandwich, we need that real softness. And you can only get that from that good old classic soft white bread. I don't want the crust on the bread, so we'll take it off on all sides. And don't throw that away because that makes great breadcrumbs. And now to assemble this delicious sauce that we made, a nice generous dollop. I love sauce, so I'm adding quite a lot of it. And then we'll get our tuna patty and we'll pop that in the center and squish it down a bit. And then, yes, I know, I'm more sauce. I love sauce, so a little bit more on the top. And then our gorgeous shredded lettuce. You really want to leave this the last minute so it doesn't wilt too much. And I'm not dressing the lettuce because that mayonnaise is going to flavour it. Top goes on. And look at that, all that mayonnaise squishing on the side. Oh, that's a really cool sandwich. I'll pop it on a plate. What I love about this is tuna, a classic pantry ingredient that we all have, can make such a brilliant sandwich like this. A really nice rich mayonnaise, crunchy lettuce. That's the ultimate sandwich. You know what, I'm gonna cut into this and have a taste. Oh, have a look inside this. Perfect tuna patty, yummo. That's a delicious sandwich.